Gentlemen. So this is another episode of Blaster Chat. This is mass-produced darts versus homemade darts. Okay, now I'll start off with what I know because last year I tested like 15 different brands of darts to try to find the best one, and my results were kind of interesting. Like for the best 1 gram dart, it would be the ZWQ darts, and for the best heavy dart, it would be the Saber 1.3 tournament darts. Okay, so what had happened was that when I was testing these darts, I was noticing inconsistencies in the batches, such as on some batches of worker darts, I was getting a 40 FPS variance. Yeah, positive and negative, and everything in between. So, which is like kind of like strange, but every batch of darts was like that. It just depended on what batch it was as to how bad the variance was. Dart zone, like the AF Pro darts, I was getting like a 20 FPS variant. Now, when I tested those new Nitro Shot darts, and I'm not talking about the ones with the blasters, I'm talking about the actual refill packs, I was getting, uh, again, 40 FPS differences. Yeah. So there you go. Now, what happened was that a while later, while I was talking to Peter Parker from Australia, you know, um, he was telling me about his bubblegum darts. These right here. These are bubblegum darts from Australia. These are handcrafted darts. Okay. And I won't give away Peter's secret formula or recipe or whatever. But what he does is that he makes darts for himself and his club and stuff like that. Now, one of the advantages to making your darts your own darts is that you can get the weight down to be exactly 1 gram. You know what I mean? You can sit there, play with it, and tweak the formula. It's kind of like if you're reloading an actual real steel bullet or something like that, how you're supposed to have X amount of grams of powder. The primer is supposed to weigh X amount, and the projectile is supposed to weigh X amount. You see what I mean? Now, darts are the same way. So, over the years, and I do mean years because sometimes it takes people years and years to perfect their craft, and some people they can do it right away. They've been he's been working on his darts. Well, he finished. And this is what they are. They're bubblegum darts. These are bambooed darts. Okay, these are very nice darts. Actually, these are 1 gram projectiles. They do. They're actually very very nice. They work very well in sealed breeches. So, with all that being said, um, there's not much of a variance. There's only like a 10 FPS variance, which is great, but that's because of the craftsmanship and him paying attention, weighing each and every dart, and stuff like that. Like if you weigh a box of worker darts, for example, some of them will weigh zero point 0.9 of a gram all the way up to 1.1, you know, if not a little bit heavier. It just depends, because they're all mass produced. But if you make them homemade like these, you you are cut a lot of the weight issues down because you're hand weighing each and every dart. Now, the downside to using homemade darts is that they take a while to craft. Like Peter said, he could slam out 200 of them in about 3 hours, and that's from start to finish. Okay, but that's 200 darts in 3 hours. Now consider that at work or factory or ZWQ's dart factory, wherever they're made at, they're mass producing them and they can make 200 darts in about 90 seconds. You see what I mean? So that's why not many people sell handcrafted darts or whatever. I was lucky enough to get these in with 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 my barrel for my Fury X and a couple other bits and bobbles he sent me from Australia. But yeah, so if you can make your own darts, or if you know somebody in your club that knows how to make darts, you might want to make them your friend. Okay, and see if they're willing to teach you because it's something to learn. it's a new thing to learn. You know, people that learn new things, they're always going to be one step ahead. People that pay attention to things are always going to be one step ahead. It's just how it is. But I'll be honest with you, I ran through about 100 of these or so, just random testing, and they perform really well. I was standing on the edge of my back porch, and I've got a church that sits about 180 feet away from me, I'm guessing. So I was sitting there pegging the top stained glass window with Peter's darts religiously. And the window's only about 12 inches by 12 inches, so it's not very big. And I was just sitting there with my Quinlan just pegging it just nonstop. It was rather cool to watch. But, you know, that's just it. You know, people that handcraft their darts, they actually take their time to make sure it's done right. I mean, they even bamboo them like these, which is really cool. Now, I would have a buy link for Peter's darts, but as I said, they're handcrafted, and he's not into making thousands and thousands of darts. You know, I mean, I wish Worker would maybe grab Peter's dart recipe and run with it. I'm sure he'd be willing to help them out with it or something like that, or maybe send a dart type to ZWQ. I don't know. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a good dart, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either make your own, and most people will use like AF foam or something like that for the backing, and then like whatever tip that they prefer. These are ACC tips. You know, that's the best way to do it, you know. And then whatever type of glue that they use. Some people use super glue, some people use rubber cement, some people use a combination of both. It's just very different. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. And until next time, this is Myler's Mods signing off.